Now, what I wanted to do is, again, we've been hearing from our youth and hearing about their experiences. And obviously, some of these things do create some measure of stress for people. What we're trying to do now is we're going to do a little bit of a poll. And this is something that everybody can get involved with right now. So we're going to do a poll. This is an anonymous poll. And so what is really going to happen is I just want you to take the opportunity now. Let me just get it ready for you just to tell us a little bit about your experiences. All right, so let me just get that ready for you all. And again, this is an anonymous poll, so feel free to answer your questions. Nobody's going to know what your experiences are. As you see from the questions that we have here, it's asking about over the last year. So over the last year, or I'll say even 2 years because of the pandemic, and this is where I'm hearing a lot of these concerns. I mean, they've been existed from before, but even more now. Just tell me, how have you felt? So have you felt more feelings of self-doubt or feeling more confident? Again, knowing that everybody has a mixture of both. So sometimes you feel a little bit more confident, other days you feel a little bit more self-doubt. But in general, what would you rate? So just either choose more self-doubt or more confidence. And for each of these questions. So question number 2, more positive or negative thoughts. Number 3 is, are you feeling more fearful for your future? Or are you feeling more excited for your future? Question 4 now is, are you feeling more lonely over the last year, or have you felt more connected to your support networks? And your final question, number 5, is, when you feel stressed, what are some of the things that you do? And you can select as many as it is that is relevant for you. So do you spend time comfort eating? Do you drink alcohol, smoke weed? Do you sit on social media and surf the net and watch TV? Do you exercise, walk, etc.? So everybody can just take a couple of minutes just to kind of put in what your responses are. Again, understanding that nobody else is going to know who it is, but this is just for us to understand what everybody's kind of going through. All right, so I'll just give another minute or two for everybody to put in their, another second or two to put in your responses. Okay. All right, great. So let's see what everybody's results are. And I'm going to share the results with everybody so you can all see it. So what we're seeing here, question 1, feelings of self-doubt or confidence. So we see that most people have indicated feelings of self-doubt. And again, as I say, we all go through it in one way or the other, but we're seeing more people dealing with the self-doubt than not. We also see for the second question, more people have had negative thoughts than positive thoughts. Fear for the future, right? So again, we have a lot of things going on at this point that people are just not too sure. You're worrying about school, you're worrying about your careers, you're worrying about money. So a lot of fear for the future. A lot more people feeling lonely than connected. And a number of ways that people tend to manage their stress, with most of it being TV, watching video games, those kind of things. One of the things I've actually seen quite a lot of lately is also this comfort eating or emotional eating. And I think a number of therapists have seen that as an increase as well, is that more and more people, especially that we've been at home now, you're stressed out, what's comfortable? Eating chips, burgers, fries, all the things that are not necessarily always the best things for us. And a few people are engaging in walking, exercise, yoga, which are all positive coping techniques, right? So what I want to do is just kind of talk to you all a little bit about how to manage the stress. So again, many of you are going through school, and this is not just for the students, this is also for, professionals and parents and everybody else like that. So these are some of the ways that I recommend that you manage some of the stress that you'll be going through. And one of the things that I always recommend for everybody is the first thing you do when you start to feel stressed out is to start to calm yourself by taking deep breaths. And one of the things I want you to be aware of is the way that our bodies actually work. So when we do get stressed out, That's actually not a bad thing. That response that our body has is actually helpful, and it's something that's innate. It's something that we are born with. So it kind of alerts us to danger and when we need to run, for instance, that we're, about to get into some kind of danger. But what happens in our modern society is that most people see everything as dangerous. So I'm worried about school, I'm worried about finances, I'm worried about being late, I'm worried about my family, I'm worried about my children. And because of that, we're always at a heightened a state of stress. And that doesn't give our bodies a chance to relax. And one of the things that you may not be aware of, just think about it this way: our bodies do not know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. So, whatever is going on in our mind, our body is responding to that. So, think about it from the perspective of if you're watching a horror movie at home, and you might be safe and comfortable, doors are locked, you're on the couch, warm and cuddled up, but you're watching this movie and you're starting to feel your racing and your throat tightening up, and you're getting kind of nervous. You're watching a movie, you're safe, but your body is taking in a message, your brain, and your body is responding. And this is what happens to us with stress. If we spend too much time in this heightened stressed state, this is what creates disease, right? And if you hear the word disease, it is dis-ease, meaning our bodies are not at ease. So what we want to try to do is get our bodies back to a comfortable, calm point. And deep breathing helps us to actually calm our nervous systems. So one of the techniques that I'm going to get you guys all to try to do right now is just to take a few deep breaths. This is the first thing that I recommend anytime it is that you start to feel stressed out. You can do this anywhere, in a classroom, on the job, on the subway, wherever you happen to be, you can do this. And what you want to try to do is make sure that when you're taking these breaths in, you're not breathing shallow breaths from like the top of your lungs, but really a deep breath from your diaphragm where you are almost like your belly is kind of rising and falling like a balloon, okay? So what I recommend doing is taking a deep breath in through your nose. So breathe in through your nose for about a count of 3. Hold it for a second, and then breathe out through your mouth for a count of 6. So let's just try doing that now. Breathing in through your nose, hold it, and then breathe out through your mouth. And you're doubling the amount of time that it takes for you to exhale. And you would do a number of these repetitions until you start to feel your body calming down a little bit. All right. And so you can do this, as I say, at your desk, in the classroom, wherever you happen to be. Once you start this stress response, take some deep breaths. This starts to signal to your body that you're okay. Because when you're safe and you're okay, you're breathing at a normal pace. So by doing this, it's telling your body that you're actually okay. Another thing you can do is a body scan. So a body scan is where you're pretty much looking, kind of monitoring your body from the top of your head all the way down to your toes, and just recognizing anywhere that you might feel a little bit of tension or tightness in your jaw, your neck, your shoulders, just kind of relaxing that and allowing yourself to feel a lot more comfortable. This is actually kind of what mindfulness is. So we always hear about mindfulness, and most of the time we have no clue what that really means, like clear my mind, but the grocery list and everything else is coming into your mind. Well, this is a way of focusing and being mindful. What you're doing is focusing on your body, and that's giving your mind a few minutes to just not think about the stressful things that are always worrying you. So you're focusing on that body scan, and you can do the deep breaths at the same time. And again, this can be done in school, at your desk, at work, wherever you happen to be. Some other techniques are the yoga, are doing exercise. Again, we know that by moving your body, it helps to kind of release some of that stress that you have, that pent up tension. Nature walks is something that I love. So ecotherapy, getting out into nature, is a really, really helpful way. It allows you to kind of calm your mind a little bit. But the key to this, I would say, is when you're out in nature and taking that nice nature walk, don't think about the stuff that's worrying you, right? This is the time to actually look at the beautiful trees and the leaves and the snow on the ground, and just kind of take yourself outside of your usual worries and stresses. It kind of gives you that larger picture of things, and again, helps to calm you, and it's good for your body, of course. And one of the things that I have talked about a lot is doing art. I find art to be really helpful. And so what we're going to do, because again, at the beginning of this session, everybody had that dotted sheet, and hopefully you've been drawing your picture as you go along. So we are going to actually just do our art reveal in a second. But some of the benefits of art that I would recommend is, again, it does calm your nervous system. One of the things that many employers actually are recognizing is that creativity. So art actually kind of births that creativity. It gives new perspectives and it allows innovation. So the more creative you are, the more you allow your brain to get creative, the better you would probably be at your job, because it comes up with new ideas. You're thinking outside of the box. And another thing that it does is it encourages focus. So in order to actually create an artistic piece, you probably have to spend some time focusing on it. Art is also very helpful, again, in just distracting you. So again, all of those thoughts, all of the things that are always stressing you out, by focusing on a piece of art, it allows you to just kind of take that little mental recess that we all need. And one of the reasons why I find art is really helpful for your wellness in general is because a lot of times, especially within the Black community, where we don't talk about mental health, and it's something that we just think it's a weakness if we have any mental health related issues, a lot of times people don't talk about it, and they don't have the voice or the vocabulary to speak about what some of those inner thoughts and feelings might be. So art is a way of expressing yourself without actually having to use words sometimes. And sometimes things come to you through that artistic expression. It can also raise your self-esteem. So art is actually a practice. Most of the time when you talk to people about creating art, they'll say, I'm not artistic. But really, we all are. We all, at some point, were in school, in kindergarten, and probably the class we loved the most was our art class. And we would make our little macaroni people and macaroni pictures that we have for our parents. And again, what it was is it does build your self-esteem. So the more that you do something, you finish a piece of art, you might feel even better about yourself. And best of all, it just encourages play and it's fun. So it's something that our lives have become so serious. So when you're in primary school, we have art class and we have recess and all of those things. But somewhere within our educational lives, we don't have time for that anymore. We got to get serious and we got to focus on the academic subjects, and we don't have time for these things. But it is important for us to encourage that play. It's great for our overall mental health, right? So what I'm going to ask everybody to do now is, even if you don't want to show your face, just show on your screen your art piece. And let's see what everybody was able to create. So just hold up your art piece to the camera as best as you can. And let's just see what you're able to create. You might not have been able to finish it at this point, but again, you're just working on whatever it is that you've got. All right. We want to put up our art pieces. Great, look at that, Marsha, beautiful. So even if you're not ready to show it as yet, that's fine. Continue to work on it. As you can see, everybody will usually have a very different looking piece. So what has happened is we've actually been given the same instructions. You've had the same piece of paper, you've given the same stars and hearts and whatever, but everybody has pretty much come up with something totally different, right? And again, as Tara had mentioned, we're not a monolith as Black people. So again, we should not expect everybody to have the same thing, and be embracing of the differences and diversity that we have. Okay,